Yeah, hello, I'm Max, marine biologist from Germany here at the Sea Life in Oberhausen, and my specialty are sharks and especially their teeth and their bite. I have here the jaw of the shark species we used in our experiments, and we can see at first that sharks are able to replace their teeth. You can see here are some rows in reserve, and if one of the teeth in the first row is shedding out, the next one around in hours, so they always have freshly and sharp teeth to catch their prey. And what maybe you can also see here is the different functions. So in the upper jaws, you see triangled teeth, and they have some serrations to cut some flesh from bigger prey. And here at the lower jaws, you have teeth, they are better just to hold the prey. So they have no cutting effort, they just have catching effort, and they are to hold on fish and to bring them as whole back to their stomach, not chance to cut with this. They are for the catching, and these teeth are for the cutting. Yeah, we as humanity, we are pumping a lot of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, and 25% of it dissolves in our oceans. And this dissolves as carbon exit, and this exit makes our oceans more exit, and this is called acidification. And this can cause problems for any organisms which have structures out of calcium carbonate, like shells, corals, or mussels. Our luck is that sharks are replacing their teeth immediately and every time as one teeth is shedding out. A very, very cool invention of the evolution. And we could collect this shed teeth here at the aquarium right beyond the feeding point. And we collected around 600 teeth. And then we get a sample of the 50 teeth with the best quality. And then we expose the half of them to acidification, the half of them to today's water conditions. And then we observed that the tooth group, which was exposed to acidification, showed many different kind of damages like root corrosion or also cracks and holes at the crown. Sharks are highly dependent on the perfectly developed teeth. And when there are damages, I think it couldn't be good for the fitness of the sharks. So maybe it's harder for them to catch the prey, and also their tooth replacement could be harder because with the root corrosion we saw at the root, the teeth could fall out maybe a bit faster, and they have to replace the teeth maybe then faster, and that could be harder in more acidified water with less calcium carbonate to produce new teeth. And it's harder, and maybe also the energy costs of producing new teeth are higher in more acidified waters. What we did in our first experiments were kind of extreme scenarios we can expect in the year 2300. So very, very long-term effects from now. But we are the first ones who did these experiments. And right now it's our task to figure out from which point we can expect these changes in the morphology of the shark teeth. So maybe we can see already effects in 100 or in 50 years, but this is what we have to figure out with more experiments. 250 years in evolution, it's a blend of an eye, so a very, very short time. And even we know there are some shark species which can get very, very old. Greenland sharks, for example, can reach an age of around 500 years. So there are maybe some sharks which are swimming in our oceans right now. They are already 200 years old, and they will deal, or they will have to deal exactly the conditions we tested or we made our experiments with. Yeah, sharks are something like an underwater health policy or police. They are eating old or sick animals, and they are the managers of marine ecosystems because they are managing the populations of all the other fish through the ones they are feeding on. And today we know if there are more sharks in our oceans, there are more fish in reefs, the reefs are healthier, so they are very, very important, and they are in a clear key role. And when sharks are missing, we can see many, many bad effects at different spaces of the world. We call this trophic cascades because when we have less sharks, for example, when we talk about our blacktip reef sharks, we could have more moray eels, more groupers, and this is bad for the doctorfish, the clownfish, and the small tiny reef fish if these meso predators are too many, and sharks are managing that everything is in the perfect balance. I was always one of these Shark Week kids, so I watched many documentaries. I had some scientific books, especially for kids, for sharks, and I was always completely fascinated. And I think, yeah, from the time I was 5 or 6 years old, I was completely fascinated by sharks, and I always had the dream to dive with them, to work with them, and yeah, to find out how they live. And I always wanted to try to understand these predators which are in our oceans for 400 million years now, which shut such a variety in their species and also in their behavior. And I'm very happy that I have today the chance to do this.